Hey everyone, I'm Rather Coherent, and this is going to be Session 0 for Rome Total War Remastered as Britannia. We're going to be doing a short campaign for them, and in this video we're going to do all of our pre-game analysis. We're going to talk about the faction, their strengths, their weaknesses, what my game plan is, and we're going to set out how I think they're going to go. Now first, before I move from here, this tier list is tentative, it's being established as I play the game. Originally this was set up by memory, and I'm changing it with each campaign I play. Britannia right now is, of all the B tier factions, the one with like the most room for where it could actually end up. It could be terrible in C tier. It could be clearly an A tier faction, or maybe it's even as good as the Horse Archers. And a lot of that uncertainty involving Britannia's ranking is because of their chariots. You see, their light chariots, which are essentially Horse Archers, are a unit that is not made in a building you would expect it to. Much like Horse Archers from Scythia or Berserkers from Germania, if you tried to guess how you make Horse Archers for Britannia, you'd get it wrong. It's actually the weirdest of the units I've seen so far. So let's get into the game and start talking about Britannia and how I expect we're going to play them. Now, as always, before I actually start talking about Britannia on the campaign map, I'd like to briefly look at the full list of units available to them, and this is a lot smaller than usual. Now, there's some units here that obviously aren't getting used in my army. These barbarian peasants aren't worth anything, these are mercenaries. I'll hire them, but they're not part of my plans, and I can't reliably produce them. Warhounds don't have much place in a real army, and of course I'm not recruiting generals. I want as many as I have, but I can't willingly create them. So this is the actual unit roster of Britain. They've got basic spear warbands, druids who I am not actually clear what the point of them is. Allegedly, the point of these druids is to improve the morale of nearby units, but as always, I feel like I'd be better served by having a unit of cavalry to decrease the morale of the people getting charged. We have woad warriors. If these are one-turn units, they're alright. Their low defense makes them probably not good. They're going to get melted on very hard difficulty, there's only 160 of them. But they don't look terrible if they're one-turn units. But you compare these woad warriors to swordsmen, and I'm not sure... I guess the woad warriors have good stamina and fast moving, which is cool, but like... the increase in defense on swordsmen probably just makes them a better unit. And chosen swordsmen are our biggest, baddest infantry unit we have available. This makes me very optimistic for the faction. Not head hurlers, I mean, I'm sure they're good, I've heard crazy things about them, and 17 is a very high missile attack number, goddamn. But they don't have a Peltas unit, which I think means their slingers are going to be their tier 1 practice range unit. And that's really good. Just having ready access to actual range units is going to be a dramatic increase to the power of any faction. Now, looking at this, you'd say that the Chariots are obviously our cavalry units. But you'd be wrong. So, to talk about the Chariots, I think it's time to go into the map and show you the tech tree. But first we have a cutscene to watch.
Before my grandfather's grandfather was born, this was our land. These are good places. Our gods live here, in the trees and rivers. They watch over us. We are happy. We hunt. We love. We have families, homes, a good life. But sometimes we must fight. The Romans disturb the gods. They burn the forests. They take what is ours, wives, children, land. The Romans talk of how they will help us and protect us. They put us to sleep with golden promises. When we wake, all we had is gone, stolen. They take our sons and turn them into little Romans. Ha! So we fight to keep what is ours. What must stay ours. There can be no peace. No peace with Romans, men of stone and iron and lies. There can be only war. Okay, so originally I was going to say, this seems very similar, if not identical, to the other barbarian cutscenes in the Western world. I'm surprised at how blatantly reused it is. But they describe the Romans as men of stone and iron and war. What the fuck do Britain use? Do they not have access to stone and iron? Like, historically, surely every society had access to stone, but didn't Britain have access to ironworking? Am I going crazy? Someone in the comments, please give me a history lesson on this if I'm losing my mind. But the reason I have to come into this campaign map to begin with is because you look at the tech tree, there's only one level of stables, and it just gives you dogs, that's all it does. So where the fuck are their chariots? They're under the blacksmith. This is how you get chariots.
and the British heavy chariots take 2 turns to make. So we have to compare them pretty aggressively against the British light chariots, and oh my god, this UI is so bad for it, I'm going back to custom menus. Okay, so back here, we can now compare them very directly to each other. The British heavy chariots have 1 more morale, 3 more attack, 4 on a charge. Oh, they have 1 more hit point, there we go. I was wondering why I would ever make them at first. The extra hit point is definitely something worth noting. But surely having 4,300 arrows is worth more than 1 more hit point, right? And I could make 2 of these, which would definitely be better than 1 heavy chariot. As always, it looks like the main upside of using a 2-turn unit is that if you can't produce 2 of this unit, then it's better, right? Over 2 turns, you make 1 of these, and it costs the same population and only slightly more gold, whereas this would cost twice as much to make 2 of them. And that's rarely a concern I find I have. So odds are, my ideal army is pretty much just the warlord and light chariots, and some schmuck to carry a ram, right? Like, this is pretty much what I want my armies to look like. And I guess what's really gonna happen is I'll just have a shitload of spearmen in to get in the way, but that's not entirely true. We get into a sort of weird spot here. This is the first time I've played a faction since I came back to Rome Total War where I actually had a meaningful tech choice. I forgot to show it, but slingers are in fact a tier 1 range unit, which means if you have 2,000 population, your city can make slingers. It can also make light chariots. The light chariots would take slightly longer to build the infrastructure for and slightly more money to. But like, if I have low economy, it's gonna be the slingers, right? These guys are 150 each compared to the 620 of chariots. Just the ability to spam slingers probably means that's what my army will look like. Just having range superiority, as I've been showing off in my Seleucid Empire campaign, is really important. I was able to defeat pretty much the entire Balkans with 2 units of ranged mercenaries. If I can just pump slingers out of basic bitch cities, that's probably what I'm gonna do. Let's quickly compare these to the Rhodian slingers. So like the best slingers in the game have 9 attack, 6,400 ammo, and 120 range. I don't actually know they are the best ones. What do Balearic slingers look like? Okay, yeah. It turns out the Balearic slingers are literally identical. And what about the British slingers? Oh. Oh wow, they're terrible. What the fuck? They literally have half the attack of real slingers, less even, 4/9, and 2/3 the range. Don't slingers already have substantially less range than archers? No, they have normal archer range. Or at least good slingers do. Okay, so Barbarian Slingers are apparently kind of trashy. What's the range on the Velites? How small is 80 actually? Oh my god, they're only fucking... They're like 20% more range than a Velites. Holy shit. Okay, so I was considering making an army of slingers because I thought this army looked a lot like this army, and it just doesn't. This unit costs 470, this one costs 150. There's a fucking reason for that. These slingers are disgustingly bad, it turns out. And head herders look cool and all, but with only 960 ammo, I wonder how good they'll actually be. That's sort of aside from the point though, because they're a higher tier unit, so I probably won't be making many of them anyway. So it looks pretty clearly like my plan is to just like make whatever I can in the early game. And then as the game goes on, just add more and more chariots to my armies as I can. So let's go look at the actual campaign map and how I plan to play that out. So the very first thing I notice when I'm playing as Britain is what the fuck is happening here? Why is my spy all in Britain? Why do I have this family member right here next to Ireland, but not near any boats? I am deeply confused by some of my starting unit placements, but let's look around and actually figure out what army I have. Got a couple of spear warbands, family members, a single unit of chariots garrisoning my city, so all of this can be put on boats and leave. Let's see how long that actually takes me. So it looks like I can get one general across immediately, the next one will be coming the following turn. I only have these starting boats, I actually can't build more, which is sort of sketchy in terms of rebel pirates if they're already near here. I guess let's toggle Fog of War and see how angry I am about the idea of rebel pirates. Okay, As long as I don't dial Gaul instantly, I should be fine. It looks like there are no pirates on the north of the map by default. That's good. I'm wondering if it's even correct to conquer Ireland. Let's build a watchtower here so I can figure out what size the city is. Oh, here it is. I'm stupid, it just wasn't reading the map icons. So this is a tier 1 city. It will never build relevant units. I'll be sending relevant units away from the warfront to do it. So, unironically, I think conquering Ireland's a waste of time and I shouldn't be doing it. It looks like I can probably crank my taxes to max. It's looking like I can probably crank my taxes to max in all 3 of my starting cities with no issues whatsoever. So that's at least good news. So each turn I'm going to be ferrying 1 general across the sea, trying to do a little bit of stuff. It looks like I should have gotten my spy across on the first turn, maybe? I think it would have actually cost me the ability to get across. We'll find that out in the real campaign, because it's not super important. Now, unlike most factions, Germany in particular, I'm boxed in on Europe. There's no rebels for me to go fight. Now, the good news is that I am right next to Gaul's capital. So there's a lot of work I can immediately start doing if I want to against Gaul, and I can't really imagine another path than fighting Gaul. Eventually, I'll have reinforcement armies that come down and go to Germany just because Germany is there, but it looks like our initial wars will be against Gaul. I just don't really see an argument for doing anything else, and I probably should have stopped and checked for mercenaries at various points. Ah, barbarian peasants, I've missed you. Okay, so there's basically not mercenaries. These guys have 4 morale and 10 defense. That doesn't sound absolutely terrible, like, militia hoplites are worse than that by quite a lot, but these guys melt and break instantly in pretty much every fight they're in. They're kind of worthless. So a big consideration here is where can I build the units, or buildings rather, that I need to make chariots. Going back to the tech tree, to make chariots I need a blacksmith, and to make a blacksmith I need a level 2 city with a trader, which means I have at least, I think a blacksmith is 4 turns, so I think it's gonna be 4 turns at the start of the game until I start making chariots here. Which gets into a weird situation. Despite wanting to go to war immediately, and these 2 cities just sort of suck, so I probably will recruit spear warbands here because I have nothing better to do. In Samara Riva, there's real argument to be made that I should perhaps just lower the taxes and build farms. Actually, is there a population growth shrine? And the roundabout way of public happiness or public health is a problem there is. Yeah, I could build the Squalor Shrine to get this place to grow faster. I need to see what this shrine does at later tiers, because like the Trade Shrine I get, the Squalor Shrine I get. What on earth does the Nothing Shrine do? It's the Experience Shrine, and it also gives me Head Hurlers and Road Warriors. And it gives them to me at tier 2. Okay. Head Hurlers might not be as high tier units as I thought. That's only 3 turns to build the infrastructure in a level 2 city. I wonder if that would make it worth going for Head Hurlers first. Because if I build this, I can build Road Warriors next turn. Then 2 turns from there. I think that might actually make it worth building this before I go for Chariots. If I build this, I can build 2 turns of Road Warriors and then 4 turns of Head Hurlers while I wait for the Chariots to come online instead of just waiting for 4 turns. And then once the Chariots are here, they'll be starting with the Chevron. So it seems like there's a lot of upside to building the shrines to Andrasta and military cities before I start trying to unlock the stuff for Chariots. At least unless I already have some of that stuff. If I conquer a city with a market, I'm going straight for the blacksmith. But I think I'll start with shrines to Andrasta rather than going for the Chariots directly. Although I didn't actually check how many turns these take. Okay, I'm very surprised by this. Road Warriors take 2 turns, but Head Hurlers only take 1. Despite the fact that Head Hurlers definitely seem like they're the better unit. I mean, logistically, this is all quite simple, it feels like. I feel pretty confident in building shrines into Chariots. My starting army is small, but it can move west and conquer this city while I ferry everyone across. So I can immediately start my wars with Gaul. I'm going to end 1 turn just to see what my income looks like doing this and to get an estimate of how many turns I will need here. Odds are it won't matter if I go for the shrine. So I'm going to build these farms first. I expect it'll take more than 2 turns. I know it'll take more than 2 turns. So we were at 1600, and we go up to 1664. We're looking at like 8 turns to start making units here. 10 actually, because we won't be able to make them until we finish the production building. And I could just be making spear warbands every turn. No, it's not going to be a full 10 turns, probably, because I'll be able to enslave some stuff. I will try to get this up to making chariots, because chariots seems so much better than anything else I could be doing. It really does blow my mind that this is a 2-turn unit. Like, let's compare it to the just basic spear warband. 6 less defense, 6 more attack, 6 more morale. Alright, fine. It's a much better unit than the spear warband. I'll admit it. It's also cheaper, which is quite funny. Although that raises a good point, then. I probably want to build shrines to Andrasta in all of my small cities, because it means that my literal level 1 cities can produce road warriors, which would actually be helpful. So that's cool to realize.
Yes.
Now, am I dialing Gaul on turn 2? No. It looks like I'm just out of range of doing it.
Destroy, leaving the
I could, though, and I probably will as a consequence.
Yes.
I'm almost certainly dialing Gaul on turn 2.
General.
Honestly,
Yes.
I don't know if I am.
Yes.
I can hide in these trees and avoid transgression and not have them immediately rallying all their armies towards me. Just getting in a turn where they can send their armies in random other directions than at me might be useful. And it also secures these guys actually making it to the mainland. Which, like, these units don't matter, but the man leading the army actually does quite a lot. And also, it looks like I'm going to be laying chariots even more than I was originally talking about, because, like, the amount of income you get from building a port is very important, and I just need a port so I can have my boat be safe to continue ferrying units across. So I've learned a lot about infrastructure for Britain that's not at all what I expected it to be. My wars against Gaul are going to be pretty straightforward. I have, however, reloaded the start of save turn, and the reason for that is that I want to specifically go see like what a battle with these chariots and generals against Gaul actually looks like. It seems very important to us actually winning the game. So let's go figure out what it actually looks like when we fight the Gauls. Oh, Rebel Navy spawned pretty immediately. So it turns out I was never conquering Ireland. It was all a joke anyway. And we still have no mercenaries available really, so actually getting to Alesia is going to take a while. I wasn't expecting it to take quite as long as it did to get all the way down here, and I'm hoping that Gaul will actually like send all their units up and come fight me. It spawned 3 whole units of boats. So yeah, it looks like building that port's gonna be pretty important. And what I'm actually gonna do down here is I'm just gonna walk to the south side of Alesia. I'm going to siege it. And I'm not actually going to attack. I'm just going to wait forever until Gaul rallies a defense. Gaul bribed my city immediately. Is this just a thing that early game Gaul gets to do on very hard difficulty where they just bribe cities? What the fuck? Also, I seem to be losing money every turn, which makes sense considering I just had a city bribed, but I forgot to check my starting income completely. So we're gonna go do that now instead of never doing that. Okay, so let's see what we actually make on the first turn. It looks like our starting income is only 225, 325 a turn, something like that. We are a very low economy game. That's workable eventually, it's just sad. And it's honestly so weak that I wonder if I should just send 2 units of spearmen left and see if they can conquer the city on their own. I think it'd be smarter to send my general and also a unit of spearmen, but So the issue is I'm wondering if maybe the efficient thing to do is to dial Germany and Gaul simultaneously just because I need to expand so quickly because my land is so poor at the start. And the answer is no, I should be waiting. I should be sending this down to Alesia and then cutting west and south. I just need to strike at Gaul in a really coordinated fashion and push all the way down to Spain, and then reinforcements can come fight Germany. During my Germany campaign, I expanded in all directions and it was good. But at the end of it all, I felt like if I had just pushed in one direction and sent reinforcements another, it would have been comparably good and much easier to do. So I'm going to try to do that this time as Britannia. I'm not going to go crazy and try to send tiny stacks against this city and into Trier and fight everyone at once. That seems like very high risk, very low reward, to be totally honest. Anyway, back to waiting for Gaul to come rally a defense. I am actually very curious as to what Gaul is going to do. Is Gaul going to defend Alesia at some point?
Let us end
That's very funny.
Until
Gaul, what are
next
you
time.
doing? Defend your capital. What? Gaul, it's kind of important. You need to come break the siege. Okay, they sallied forth on the last turn. So now we finally have the chance to come see what this battle looks like. Unfortunately, it's going to be a sally battle, which is not really a proper demonstration of how armies work, but it'll be fine. Okay, I had to actually confirm that my generals didn't have bows because I honestly could not remember. Gonna my chariots just come over. There's no good place for me to put my chariots, it doesn't seem like. I think if I put them here, they'll be safe from the towers. And I think the same is also true if I put them here. I am not gonna lie though, I don't like how huge chariots are. It feels like it's gonna get very messy very fast. So my plan here is basically to have the spearmen charge in and collapse on the enemy, and while I wait to do that, I just have all my ranged units firing into the gates. I wonder if that patch they released a while back fixed the issue where the AI just sort of hung out. Wait, what's happening? Which chariots are charging? Okay, you're just moving somewhere in a terrible way. You moved all the way forward into the range of the towers to do anything. Not a great start. I feel immediately like somehow Britain's army is just far less organized than everyone else's. I mean, in spite of that, this seems to be going very well. Okay, yeah. We just cut fire at will on everyone now. Have all of these guys just try to get in the city. Also, please stop. I always think cutting fire at will is going to make them stop shooting. Excuse me? Why aren't they actually retreating? What on earth is happening here? Oh, there's the fucking glitch where they think they're fighting forever. Well, I guess they're fighting until the end of time from their perspective, huh? Not exactly a good representation of how this fight's supposed to look. Hopefully there's less glitchy bullshit happening when I actually play this for real. I think I have to send my generals in, but that seems like it just gets them killed. So I'm just gonna pull all my actual units in the chariots back before this goes terribly for them. Alright, since they've come out to meet me. Yeah, the chariots seem fine. I mean, I didn't have great results with anything else I was using. Oh no! I hadn't considered trying to move chariots through the city gates. I mean, the chariots seem really fucking good. The chariots seem absolutely ridiculous. What on earth is this pathfinding? Where are you going? What are you doing? Everyone stop. Stop sometimes causes them to realize they're doing the wrong thing. Not in this case, though. He's not coming inside. Okay, there we go. We finally got him in. And yeah, they've got decent range. What is their range actually on these units? 120, normal archer range, but still. It's plenty good. Yeah. It's just like, this whole chariot thing seems really good, and I should probably focus on that. I'm so poor at the start that I actually do still want to go for Wood Warriors before I go for chariots. And in some cities, many cities in fact, that's not even an option, I just have to do it. But yeah, the chariots seem really good. Now, Spear Warbands versus General's Cav, on the other hand, especially when they're glitched out and won't get out of the gate, pretty shit. Wouldn't recommend it. But, yeah, the Chariots seem fucking incredible. A lot of the time, what happens in these Session Zeros is I do a whole lot of really intensive analysis and think very hard, and sometimes I come up with cool plans. I, for one, think getting 2 units of ranged mercenaries and then trying to conquer the Balkans as Persia was really cool and not something that most people are doing and a reason to do Session Zeros. But today, all we've done is really effectively explained why I'm going to do the obvious thing. Britain, the Chariot faction, is going to recruit Chariots and go to war with Gaul, their historical rival and neighbor. Like, I'm doing the most obvious thing in the world as Britain. I feel pretty confident in it now that I've tested it, but yeah, nothing spicy is happening with Britain. We're doing the thing that Britain is supposed to do. Anyway, I'm Rather Coherent, and we're done with Session 0. Next time, we'll actually get into a campaign proper. And if you like this video, then please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and I'll see you in the next one.